Boom! Alright everyone, welcome to another brand new episode of the Saturday night Dr. Mark Leong's Club Show. And if you're someone who loves eating apple, tonight's episode is gonna shock you. How many of you have been not buying organic apples? Comment me in the chat right now. Comment me if you have not been buying organic apples. Alright, great. Now those of you, you don't really care as long as you're in the mood, you just want to eat an apple, right? You just get apples whenever you can. Comment 1 in the chat as well, right? Doesn't matter if it's organic or not organic. Okay, great. Well, tonight, this is going to be an episode that is shocking. Why? We have gotten one of these incredible gentlemen, one of the renowned food specialists, which has been featured previously by Channel News Asia, where he was sharing about reused oil. And tonight, we are very fortunate to have him on our show to talk about what are the various types of chemicals used in the farming industry when it comes to growing apples. Because people say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but unfortunately tonight, an apple a day is going to bring you closer to the doctor if you are having the wrong bite. Secondly, what are the side effects in the long run? It's definitely not going to be overnight. But more critically, there's been a lot of questions after my last video that hit over 2 million views globally. Where should we wash our apples with water? Does salt make it more effective to remove pesticide? And in fact, should we even use hot water to wash our apples? Well, these are the questions that we have received from many of you around the world. And definitely, I'm sure you do not want to rely on a Google or ChatGPT answer. And it's something that I'm personally very curious as well, because I've never done this with my team in terms of doing a lab test to understand which of these methods are truly effective. So tonight, we want this gentleman to disclose his research along with other experts that have done the same test when it comes to checking out which one is the most effective method on removing some of these chemicals from our apples. And more importantly, how many of you here do use salt or hot water when it comes to washing your fruits? May not be just apples, but any of your fruits as well. Just comment me in the chat right now. We just want to see from the studio here, how many of you do use this practice, which I believe it's something that was handed down by our parents, and for some of you, probably your ancestors. All right, okay. Seems like this is a common practice, not only in Asia, but around the world. Well, without further delay, my friends, I would like to introduce to you this incredible man. Also, he's one of our community member in Singapore, right? He's none other than the person that I have so much great conversations when I wanted to understand on some of the tests, to be done when it comes to food safety. He is known as the food safety specialist. For those of you who are at home, if you really want to turn your kitchen into a business, for those of you who wants to basically provide, your food products, packet, box, or any form, and you're not sure how to do it, this is the guy to go to. Or even for those of you who are running kitchen, restaurants, factory, what are the Singapore standards when it comes to setting up a factory or facility that provides you safety standards, gold standard, Singapore standard? This is the gentleman. Now, without further delay, I would like us to put our hands together for Richard! All right.
Good evening. Thanks, Dr. Mark, for the wonderful introduction.
Thank you, thank you. And to everyone that's watching here, all right, if you guys are excited about tonight, just hit in that love. Type in that love right now so that we all can see how excited you guys are. All right. Okay, so Richard, thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thank you for inviting me over.
I think we had very good conversation a few months ago when we spoke about reusing oil and how toxic it is.
Correct.
I think that was a very interesting episode by Channel News Asia as well.
Correct. So it was a very informative sessions.
Right. Which I know to understand hawkers' challenge as well.
Yes.
In terms of using quality oil and not reusing over and over again. But I think tonight we wanted to invite you on the show because apples is something that many of us eat, right? If you look at the list that we receive from our viewers, the most top 3 common fruits that we all consume, especially in Southeast Asia or Singapore. Number 1 is banana.
Yes.
Number 2 will be oranges.
Yes.
Number 3 is apple. So apple is in the top 3 list.
Correct.
Right. So now let's get into it. And here you go. All right. I'm gonna spray you guys this right. So I think the whole part here is that the first thing we wanted to understand is that what are some of the most common, contaminants, right? Or I would say chemicals used on apples.
Yeah.
Because it's not just wax.
Correct.
And in fact, wax is applied probably towards the end of the process after the harvesting of the apples.
Yes.
So based on your understanding, can you name some of the chemicals used during the entire process of having this ready before it goes to our supermarket or wet markets?
Yes. So, like you mentioned, wax is actually coated towards the end to actually provide the freshness and to prevent any damage to the skin of the apple.
Right.
But what we are more concerned is the contaminants, microbiological contaminants and chemical contaminants. Microbiological contaminants not so worrisome because you are able to wash them away.
Yes.
And easily wash off. But chemical, it may actually stay or it may already be penetrating through the skin into the...
that is the part where later we want to ask you also,
Yes.
where, some of us have been told that, it's fine, I'll just remove the skin of the apple or I just peel it off, right? Okay, we're going to come to that in a short moment. That's also another $1 million question that is in the minds of many. So
what are the chemicals that people normally use? Mainly the general term is pesticide, but pesticide consists of insecticide to actually prevent insect from harming the apple.
Yep.
You also have herbicide. Herbicide is basically to actually prevent so-called weeds and other so-called weed to actually infest on the apple. And the last one is fungicide to prevent the growth of mold.
Yep.
So these are the chemicals, and then it has been shown that apple is called one of the dirty dozens.
yes.
So one of the 12 fruits that is highly contaminated. And in fact, studies have shown that actually when they do the test, 90% of them contain pesticide. One of the particular one is called diphenylamine, which is actually banned in Europe. Yeah, so if you want to know, these are some of the key chemicals contaminants.
Wow. So eventually with all the fungicide, herbicide, insecticide, you become suicide. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So it's not an apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple a day, if the wrong ones, it's going to bring you closer to your doctor, which you do not want to.
Yeah.
So and there is a lot of confusion where people think that heavy metals only apply to polluted, seafood. But in such cases, when it comes to an apple that has a lot of chemical and also based on the farming practice, in your previous research and work, do you see there are any contamination of heavy metals for apples as well?
Yes, we have seen from research and from my experience working in the testing lab before, there are actually residual, not very high, but there are residual heavy metals, the common ones like lead, mercury, which actually come from, contaminated water or soil.
Right.
So, yes, to answer your questions, there are heavy metals being detected on apples before.
Thank you. Now, I want to move on to this very sensitive question, but at the same time, a very important question that is hardly been discussed.
Yeah.
So, Richard, you see, a lot of times people would then say, right, if these are all the chemicals that are used in the farming industry, and if it's, not safe, then the question is that why is this allowed? And what will be the side effects, if it is taken in a large amount? So I think it's something that I would like to, hear from you, and I think it's going to benefit the audience here. And before, I get you to share your thoughts, I always tell, our viewers and our community is that look here, right? Because there's always a supply and demand. With the world today where the population is increasing, the demand increases, in order for, the farmers to meet the supply, they have to speed up,
Yes.
the ways of providing the food to the market. And I'm always thinking this from that perspective where today, I try to get as much organic food as I can. And it's difficult even in Singapore in particular.
Yeah.
We are willing to pay, but doesn't mean that you go to the supermarket and you get everything organic because of the season.
I also have
supply
something
chain,
to
right?
say about
Yeah.
that later on.
Sure. So, and I think the for me is that after visiting so many farms and plantation in the world, and I've seen how the farmers use chemicals, especially like strawberry farms, they're very dirty, and it's spraying there, right?
Yeah.
I tell myself that I will not pick up today a bottle of chemical, right, and to spray in my mouth. And if I will ask all of you viewers at home, right, hey guys, this is safe as long as you are taking within the tolerable dosage, you won't die.
Yeah.
But come everyone, I'm going to pay you $1 for each time I spray into your mouth. I'm sure everyone will say this is crazy, right? Mark, I'm not going to do that. But then why are you doing that when it comes to your food? I mean, that's how I look at it. That's why I try to, feed myself and my family organic as much as I can, or pesticide-free food in the Singapore context, because we don't really have organic, but we have pesticide-free due to certain requirements. But okay, let's come back to your part here. So you got some haters is going to say, right, if it's toxic, if all this is chemical, then why is it still allowed? So how do we address that question?
Okay, so all these pesticides that is being used, they are sprayed on the apple with the allowable limit. So although they are toxic, but there is a maximum allowable limit set by the regulators, whether it's Singapore or worldwide under WHO kind of guidelines. So the apples we buy in the supermarkets have actually been tested that they are below the maximum allowable limit.
Right.
However, the maximum allowable limit is actually based on the consumptions for a healthy adult like you and like me. But is it really safe for the young and the old, those who are pregnant, those who are immunocompromised, those who are having chronic diseases? That will be the main questions that we want to address. Okay, so even people like healthy adult like us, this is below maximum allowable limit, but we never know how it will accumulate in our body for the long run. Just like you say, an apple a day, keep the doctors away, maybe for today. But I cannot be sure 5 years, 10 years down the road, it may not be accumulate enough to cause any harmful effect to your organs, may cause damage to your organs, because yes, sometimes even though our body is able to actually excrete, these kind of chemicals from our body,
right?
But if you work your organs long enough, they are going to be tired also.
And you have days where your immune system is low.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
So you just weaken your organs, and eventually 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, the effect may come, and that's when you realize that there may be organs damage due to the accumulations of all these toxic chemicals that has been applied on the apples or even on any fruits that use pesticides.
So with so many types of chemicals today that is being used in the conventional farming practice, and of course each year I see new lists being added in. Now, if we look at just the basic ones, the commonly used ones, right? Can you share with us one or two or perhaps three? What are the side effects that is again shown? Maybe it's due to the studies that have been conducted, and also due to a long haul consumption. Like, what are the side effects that you share with all of us on some of the particular chemicals that may be a bit more alarming?
Yeah, so I mentioned just now there's one particular one, diphenylamine, which is banned in Europe.
Right.
And then also there are some sulfate-based or phosphate-based kind of inorganic chemicals, pesticides that's been used, which actually will cause, the immediate effect is it may cause inflammations of your gut system. Yeah, so that is because any chemicals come in contact with your gut system will definitely have some effect. Okay, some of us, if we have very sensitive gut system, then you may have inflammation. The other one that we have seen before is accumulation. Like I mentioned, when your organs is weakened, they will accumulate in your organs. The damage that it may cause is to key organs like your kidney or even your liver. Yeah, because liver is organs that help you to detox, removing all these pesticides. but if you work them long enough, your livers will be damaged as well.
It's like your main filtration system, but eventually it gets so congested. Huh?
Yes.
Right. All right. And by the way, guys, I want you to take a look here. We got so many different sorts of apples here, and these are just a handful of them, right? The list is longer. Coming up next, we will share with you as well what are the different types of apples. Where is it best, used for? Is it for cooking, baking, or just eating it like that, or for your juices? Coming up next. But okay, so this is the moment that we have all been waiting for.
Yeah.
And a lot of aunties, uncles, neighbors, friends, YouTube would tell someone that, hey, if you're not buying organic apples, just use salt, right, or water to basically wash away the chemicals, your pesticides, and also wax. So now, and based on the viral video that we have put out a couple of weeks ago, there were a lot of questions asking, Dr. Mark, what if I use hot water to wash my apple? Does it help to remove all the nasties, right, on the apple? So, guys, we have taken into consideration all of your questions, right? And I didn't want to just ask anyone. I wanted to ask you because you have been spending your life in the labs, you have done all the tests, and I think it's far more important to look at data and science rather than, again, assumptions that, okay, it's good to take away, a pesticide by washing it with some hot water or salt. So, Richard, what is the best way for everyone here today that we may not have access to organic apples? Do we use baking soda? Do we use vinegar? Do we use salt? Or do we just use water or hot water? In fact, these are the 5 different alternatives that are being practiced by many around the world.
Okay. Based on the options that you're given me,
right,
the one that I remove first is salt water.
Oh my God. Okay. How many of you guys use salt water to wash not just your vegetables, but also your fruits? Sorry, your meat as well, by the way. Command salt. Okay. All right. Okay, this is a shocker, man. So now,
why?
Okay, well, but before that, for meat, it is still practical and important to use salt to basically wash your meat, right?
Correct.
To basically kill some of the bacteria, right?
Yes, you say the correct words.
But why not on apple?
Okay, you see, for meat, main concern is bacteria, microbiological contaminant. We are not worried about chemical contaminants on meat.
Yes.
That's why we use salt. Salt kills bacteria. But here we are talking about microbiological and chemical contaminants. And if you use salt, yes, it will help you to kill the bacteria. But salt has a negative impact as well. As it is, if you ask me, I look at the apples here, I tell you there are 2 apples that is highly dangerous if you use salt.
Okay, wow. Okay, let's see which one is that going to be.
Why? Do you want to guess why?
Wow, I can't tell you why. I can't tell. So why?
Out of these, only these 2 don't have a stalk here. So you're actually having holes here.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So if you use salt water, then it may actually cause the reverse osmosis effect that the waters outside and the water inside will actually flow, the diffusions, and then eventually your chemical contaminants may actually flow in.
Oh my God!
Instead of remove.
Jeez.
Yes, so if you ask me, water, I won't use hot water, but I will recommend warm water.
Okay, so the ranking of worst ways to wash your apple will definitely be salt water as the number 1, right?
Yeah.
Followed by just water, right?
Just water.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can use warm water. Warm water is actually good because it helps you to remove the
wax.
dissolve the wax.
Dissolve the wax, but it doesn't. Does it remove the chemicals or it doesn't?
Okay, because when you actually dissolve the wax, whatever chemicals that stay on with the wax will actually be removed together as well. So if you actually look at the water, the warm water that you use to soak your apple, you not only see it cloudy because of the wax, you may see debris.
Yep.
So the debris are likely to be the pesticide or the chemical contaminants.
Okay.
So warm water is good, but don't use hot water because it will kill off your nutrients as well from your apples.
Right.
So warm water, warm enough to actually remove the wax, what is warm enough? Probably around, mixture of half of boiling water with half of tap water.
I see.
Because
Okay.
I won't want you to use thermometer and go and measure
Yeah,
what's the
it's
temperature.
too unpractical, right?
Unpractical. So half of your boiling water and half
Good,
of
good.
your.
And definitely not boiling halfway, take and go and
Yeah.
pour it on.
So that
Good,
is
good.
a good
Wow,
warm
that's
water. Okay, then if you really want to actually be more effective, you can actually add one
vinegar?
teaspoon of vinegars into 1 liter, or even 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
Good.
Those will be able to do it, but there is a catch here.
What is the catch?
You need to soak them long enough to help to actually, for the warm water, for the vinegar, and actually also the baking sodas to actually help you to remove
it.
Yeah.
So okay, everyone. How long? Type in there right now. How long? Because again, right? People are just like, okay, I've done these steps that Mark and Richard recommended, but are they doing it correctly is another question. So, Richard, how long is the magical number here?
Okay. A good recommendation is first rinse your apples about 30 seconds under running water, and then you soak them in either water, warm water, vinegar, baking soda water for at least 12 to 15 minutes. That is the magic number. 12 to 15 minutes. If you're really very hungry, you want to take your apple, then 12 minutes at least, please. Okay.
Wow, guys, put in right now. 15 minutes. Go. Just go 15 minutes. Go. Type in right now. All right, awesome.
And then, of course, if you are using vinegars or baking soda, please rinse it off first. Okay, another about 15 to 30 seconds of rinsing away the vinegar or the baking soda. If you're using water or warm water, you can just straight away eat that.
All right. Wow. Thank you. Now then, this is another thing that some people would say, right? But it's okay. You know what? I peel off the skin of the apple. So based on the studies that were conducted, will chemicals still sit inside even after removing the skin of the apple?
Well, the answer is yes. The lab has tested before. There have been results showing that even if you remove the skin, the meat inside may still have residual chemical pesticides that actually diffuse into it.
Okay. And does this only apply to apples, or does this also apply to like fruits like pears, for example, right? Because they are very similar in terms of nature.
Yeah. It applies to any fruits that the skins are porous. So if you have more pores on the skins of the fruits, then it actually penetrates even more. We're still, because we are in Singapore, we don't produce our apples
all
and fruits,
imported, right?
all imported. So it takes a while to
Ship it
into Singapore. So the longer the pesticides stay with your apple before you wash them, the more it will go inside your apple. Yes.
And I think if we look at it, where this is very similar to our human skin, right? The wax is like you're applying your sunblock or your other lotions or cream. And before you apply that, over the time, if you're applying a lot of chemical-based skincare, eventually it gets penetrated into our skin. And by using hot water, warm water, using salt to wash, it may remove some of your, or in fact your sunblock, some of the things on the outer layer of the skin, but what already went in, infused or seep in, this is the part that it's hard, where you cannot see with your bare eyes.
Yes.
Wow. This is great, by the way. How many of you guys are not only having your doubts finally clarified, but more importantly, you are having so much great insights and learning? Commend me in the chat right now if you're having a lot of great insights. Wow, thank you. All right. So now, before we release Richard, we want to get into the next very important topic here. So the conversation here that I really want to understand, apart from all about apples, what is the best way to do it? What are the common laboratory tests when it comes to checking out whether the apples are contaminated or not?
Okay, so the common test, if it's looking at pesticide, we are looking at either gas chromatography or liquid chromatography, which can actually separate all these chemicals and then detect them in what we call a mass spec. So that's for pesticide chemicals. And if you are worried about heavy metals, we have other ways like high performance liquid chromatography or any atomic absorption testing to actually look at heavy metals as well. Microbiological, of course, we know all the culture methods that's been used commonly to actually test for microbiological contaminants. Yes.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Richard, for sharing all of these very valuable insights, and more importantly, these are scientific, information, or in fact, rather than hearsay or from my neighbor or Google or ChatGPT. I definitely learned so much from you.
Thank you.
And now, I think it gives me better clarity to share my family. How should we consume our apples safely? More importantly, is that what are you working on right now? What are you exploring in the realm of food safety, which is becoming in the past, we were just having a chat the other day with one of my friends, right? I said in the past 20 years ago, everyone was talking about health, about healthy food. And I was just sharing with them that I think that what will happen in the next 20 years from now, because of how fast the world has changed, it's no longer about whether the food is healthy, it's the question whether is the food safe.
Yeah.
So for you, what are you exploring in a place that you're in right now?
So we have talked a lot about chemical contaminants, biological contaminants, and we also talk about novel food, alternative proteins, so on and so forth. The next things that I'm keen and I'm actually exploring with a group of experts, coming up with a webinar, coming up with conferences in studying food toxicology.
Oh, that will be very exciting. Wow.
Yes. Food toxicology is something that is still not very well studied, especially in Singapore. Some countries already quite advanced, but we want to know how does it impact on us.
Yes. I'm looking forward to this amazing project that you are embarking next, and I think this is so important for Singapore to be the leader next, right, in championing food toxicology, something that I have so much interest in. And wow, that's amazing. By the way, guys, if you guys love, the sharing tonight, and at the same time, you guys will love for us to have Richard, probably in the next few episodes or the next season, when it comes to food safety, food toxicology, and in fact, I have a lot of questions over lunch, chat with Richard a few days ago about the labeling on ABCD. How do people know what is the right label that, has been imposed on foods?
Yes.
Because there's a huge misunderstanding of what it means.
Yes.
So if you guys would love for us to have Richard on one of the episodes again and discuss about healthy level when it comes to sugar, right? How do you read the labels?
Yes.
And some of the sneaky practices that is very great that allow some unethical food sellers to put in comment love in the chat right now so that you guys know how to detect that and not fall into marketing gimmicks. All right. Okay. Awesome. Richard, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Amazing. Right. By the way, for those of you, if you are, setting up, home-based kitchens, because now rental in Singapore is ridiculously high. It's getting tough for a lot of business owners. If you guys would like to make sure that you're complying to the Singapore SFA standards or the gold standards, if you are someone that's already in F&B business, you're expanding your kitchen, you are trying to set up your kitchen, in a legitimate way, following our standards here by the local government, and of course, whether you are a food factory and you are literally producing foods for export, whether it's in a form of box, packet. In any case, guys, you can click on the link below. Follow Richard, the food safety foodie safe, right? Safe foodie. But I call him the food safety specialist, right? Make sure you guys follow him, and all right, awesome. So I'm gonna get you to a boom, man. I'm gonna get you to a boom. All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, boom. All right, guys, now we are going into the final segment of tonight's episode, and I love the comments coming up. The energy is awesome, and also happy 60th birthday to Singapore for those of you who are celebrating SG60. And of course, for being here tonight, it really means a lot to us and it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Ooh. Okay, now, coming up next, I want to show you guys what are the various apples here that are commonly found in our supermarkets and wet markets, of course. How do you apply some of these apples? What are their profile, right? Yes, it's like going for a date. You want to make sure that you are picking the right date. But before that, I would like you all to watch this very exciting video on what's coming up as well. Here we go.